Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy show. My name is Hassani, and as you can see, I have a power pack full of women practitioners who are ready to get it in. We have Lakeisha Hines, we have Janella Bradley, and Miss Jules Smith. Welcome, ladies. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
We're excited this morning because we're continuing in a conversation that we started on yesterday. We were talking about 11 things couples have in common, those couples who've made the decision to stay together after the affair. And this is a very powerful conversation because this is the space where most people find themselves, because we share this all the time. Overwhelmingly, infidelity, though it is a cause of divorce, most people don't divorce because of infidelity. They divorce because of people's willingness or unwillingness to do the right thing after the discovery of the affair. So we've seen many relationships be restored and redeemed and even be better after the discovery of the affair because they were willing to do the work. So these 11 commonalities are couples who are doing the work. If you do not do the work, then you're not going to get the results that you want. So we're going to go into a number of points today that I think are going to be tremendously helpful. But before we do that, we want to make a couple quick announcements. As we mentioned, Unearthed is beginning January the 30th. If you're interested, make sure you register. It's going to be phenomenal. Danielle does an incredible job, really making a difference in the lives of women. Then we have the Last Chance Weekend, February the 10th through the 12th. Make sure you register for that. People are starting to join foundations and get something powerful out of this twice a week experience. So make sure you do that. If you haven't downloaded the Couples Academy app yet, what are you waiting for? Get connected to us. That's how you'll know what's going on. And make sure you take the time to like, share, and subscribe. All right, we're going to dive into this conversation. We're going to hit the first point. Lakeisha, please lead us out. Let's talk about some of these commonalities that these couples have in common.
Absolutely. So the first one is they are willing to make changes. I must tell you, this one gets my blood boiling when I get a couple who there's one who's willing to change and the other one verbally says they're willing to change. They commit to the change because you know how we do it, Hassani. All of us, we ask, like, literally, are you willing to do the work? And they say yes. Are you committed to your marriage? Yes. Are you going to let us call you out when you're not showing up in the best way? Yes. And then I give homework and they're like, no. So that gets my blood boiling because I'm like, you have to be willing to do the work. And when you have that one spouse who's showing up every single day, every single week, committed, ready to do the work, and that other one shows up incomplete, it just tears their hope, their passion, their desire, the faith that they had in that person and in the relationship and in the marriage. It just tears it apart and it rips out their heart because the words are not aligning with the actions. So they have to be willing to make those necessary changes. And the reality is this: you have to be the change you want to see. So if you're not willing to make changes, then how can you have expectations of your spouse to change, but you're not willing to change? The reality is this: progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Everything starts here with everything that we talk about at Couples Academy, from your infidelity recovery to what I'm talking about with SOS in the bedroom. If you don't change your mind, your behavior will not change, because everything begins here, and change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We're the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. And I know that it's hard. I know it's not easy, but to improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. So how often are you willing to change?
Hey, how about it takes two to make a thing go right?
Well, come on. Don't make me start dancing in here, Jewel. Like,
Let me ask you this question, because I think we all agree with you that change is important. In your experience working with couples, do you find that there's one partner who struggles with doing the necessary work to bring about change more than the other? Meaning, is it more the betrayed spouse who struggles with doing the work to change, or is it more the unfaithful spouse from your experience, or is it a split down the middle? What have been your experiences in that regard?
It's okay. So it can happen on both sides, right? Minimally though, the betrayer minimally will I find that they're not willing to make changes. And when they're not, a lot of it has to do with their own self-worth and their self-esteem because they don't feel like they are worthy or deserve to have a second chance because of what it is that they've done. And a lot of times, and we know this, like the affair is not the issue, right? It's everything that was going on before. So a lot of times they're not willing to face those issues that got them in this place in the first
Mm,
place. So I do see that, but more often than not, it is the betrayed that really struggles because I didn't cheat.
interesting.
I didn't do anything. So
Absolutely.
why do I have to do all this work and I didn't cheat? I didn't do nothing. I didn't go sleep with somebody else. Do you know somebody was flirting with me at work and I ignored them? And yet I have to do all of this work. So,
Mm,
yes, I do find that most times it's the betrayed that has difficulty with doing the work. And it's understandable, but you still got to do it.
Hey, Keisha.
wow.
I think a lot of it also is they're so focused on the actual act where they don't even think about anything that transpired before the infidelity.
Mm,
Yes. Yes.
Nobody thinks about that,
Nobody wants to
so
talk
all
about
the,
that.
yeah, I don't want to do no work because I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat. But what about the work that needed to take place before the cheating happened?
Mhm. Mhm.
that
Exactly.
is a phenomenal
Sometimes
point. Yeah.
when I
No, go
think
ahead.
about the betrayer, I think that they feel like they might be going to like a torture chamber or something like that. So they are so afraid and they might not be willing. But think of it as an arrest. Like sometimes when the police make an arrest, you can either go willingly or you can go kicking and screaming. But when you are willing to go through the process, it's easier. No one gets beat up. You have people directing you, holding your hand through it. So sometimes the willingness will bring about a peace that kicking and screaming just don't have. So there's a good thing in being willing because it actually makes the process, a hard process, a little bit easier.
Mhm.
That's an excellent point. And since you're in the flow, let's go to the next one. The next commonality that these couples have in common is that I'm sorry, same one. They're willing to establish transparency. Unpack that for us.
Exactly. Transparency is key when there has been a betrayal. You need to create a safe place for the hurt party. So, the betrayer, it is very important for you to be open and honest. But when you think about cheating, infidelity, it's based in selfishness, self centeredness. So, when you step into transparency, now you're considerate. Now you're changing from how things used to be, and the hurt party get to see a new side of you. So transparency is key. You will hear us say all the time that people who wait, hi go y'all, those who have nothing to hide, hide
Hide
nothing. And
nothing.
hide absolutely nothing. So when you show up and you're just an open book, that actually allows the hurt party to kind of settle down and see, okay, they feel hope, they feel a little bit more secure, and then they can begin to bring their walls down because now you're building
Mm.
a new foundation in your relationship because you're bringing something that you all didn't have. And transparency is key to building trust. That's the only way it's going to happen. You can't get around it if you're still hiding and sneaking and doing different things like that. And the beauty is each couple can choose how that look for them. Some people may say, you know what, we need to have passwords, give each other passwords, or take the passwords off, or you need to come home earlier. And one of the biggest things is if you say you're going to do something, Just do it. It's just that simple. And the more that you do that, the more that anxiety in a relationship will begin to come down, and your family and your household won't be in such that dirt and grime of pain and disgust, because now you're showing up different and everyone can begin to move in a state of peace. So transparency is key.
It's funny. I was going to ask you a question, but you kind of answered it. Well, what does transparency actually look like? And to your point, it may look different for each couple. And here it is: the principle of transparency is what you need in your relationship, but how it manifests or how it unpacks itself may be different for one couple than another couple. So depending upon where the deception was or where the breakdown of the communication is, that will determine what you need to zone in on and focus on to begin to experience that level of transparency. And to your point, whether it's the phones, whether it's the emails, or just have an open and honest conversation where we dialogue, because some are still scared to share their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, their opinions, all of those things, which makes it very hard to have that level of intimacy that they're searching for. So that's an excellent point. There's a number of comments in here, and I want to say good morning to all of the viewers who are watching. Sandy says, it does take two to make things go right, right? Change requires both to create a new foundation and trajectory for your marriage. That's very true. It absolutely takes two. The challenge is sometimes one has to initiate, and it takes the other some time to get on board. We're operating at different paces. But you're right, two ultimately is the sweet spot and where we want to be. Papette says, good morning from Melbourne. That's in Australia. I really value the advice from the whole team at Couples Academy. Y'all are fantastic and inspiring. Well, we appreciate you, and we're glad that we're reaching all four corners of the earth. Then Ben says, Mrs. Lakeisha, right? And still you can't wait for the other. I had to put in the work and not wait. Life is short. You could be waiting till hell freezes. Well, we certainly don't want to be waiting that long, but that's a good point. And then Gonzalez says, either you live with your convictions or repent and release. Live a life of integrity and transparency to overcome and transform your relationship to an undeniable relationship. So excellent comments, excellent points. Listen, guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We're going to go to a quick commercial break and come back with some more goodies on the commonalities that these couples who've made the decision to stay together have in common. Stay right there.
We're really excited about Foundation. It is a new group program where couples are gathering from all around the world twice a week, couples who just want to have a thriving, successful, amazing marriage. No really well-built house is built without a foundation. As a matter of fact, without a foundation, it can't stand. It would just crumble right into the ground. We are going to interview experts and other successful couples so that you can get a glimpse into the lives of other people who are doing what it is that you desire to do, who have and who are accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. And we also have over 500 videos available for you to watch of all of our teaching. Everything that we've ever done, every topic that we've ever covered will be accessible to you.
So guys, if this sounds exciting to you and if this sounds like something you've been waiting for, go ahead and just give it a try. We're literally giving away a 15-day trial for $1. And then after that, it's simply $3 a day. And so, is your marriage worth it? Is your future worth it? Join the community today. Just click that button and meet us on the other side.
All right, guys, we're back. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. I just want to take a moment just to acknowledge the viewers. Derek, good to see you, brother. He was at the Foundry Experience from New Orleans. It was great seeing you. Bashan, my brother from Atlanta, he was there as well. Had a great time connecting with you. Good morning to Tamika and Lindsay and Kenny. Daryl. Daryl was there at the Last Chance Week, and of course Gonzalez Smith, Ben Scott, Papette, Torre, Sandy P. Cali Power Couple in the building, in the house, Mike Perry, Patrice, JD, my brother was at the Foundry Experience as well, and Tamika. We're glad to have you all on. We want you to share, like, and subscribe. Just don't hold on to all this goodness for yourself. There's so many other people who can benefit from what it is that we're sharing this morning, and we want you to simply press that share button. All right, we're talking about the 11 things that couples have in common who stay together after an affair. Number one, we dealt with the fact that they're willing to make the necessary changes. Number two, they've established a sense of transparency. And we're going to go into the third one now. They're willing to get to know each other again. How important is this?
This is extremely important. And the key word here is willing. You both have to be willing to do something totally different. And what I mean by willing, you're creating new bonds, a new relationship. That means learning each other all over again. Not learning the old person, like the new thing. Okay, well, what's new about this person? No, this is a new person. This is a new relationship. This is a new marriage. Talk to them. Ask questions. Date. Just like you used to do when you first started. You know how the men used to open up the doors. Go back to opening the doors. Ladies, when we would go on a date, before they got there, we was all beautified and all cute. Then we didn't got comfortable and we didn't gone out in sweatpants and sneakers. No, you have to go back to the beginning, but it has to be a new beginning. You have to do everything that you didn't do that you want to do in order to make this thing new. New meaning being on the phone, you in one room, me in another. That means the man leaving the house and picking you up. You know what I'm saying? Coming to your house and ringing your doorbell. He have to act like he don't live there. But, those type of things. Talking, engaging, and don't be afraid to talk about the hard things, because those are the things that keep things new. Those are the things that are actually will allow you to see your partner in a different light. And there's no more secrets. So everybody is just glowing, and you keep that.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful point. I think what happens is things get stale, things get predictable, things become normal, and we have to learn how
Mm-hmm.
to turn normal into new again. And one of the ways of reviving or rekindling the passion, or how do we renew, well, do new things, to your point. Like certain times, couples get caught up in these patterns that they've been in for the last 10, 15 years. Now, we can talk sex, and I know Lakeisha can speak to this. Same position, same time, same routine. It's boring, it's predictable. Let's try something new. Or when it comes to date nights, we always go to the bar, right? The bar and grill, down the block. Can we
Fridays.
go to a different part of town? Can we try a new restaurant? Can we try a different cuisine? We always wear jeans and sneakers and t-shirts. Can we dress up this time? Like bringing new things in is critically important. And I think a lot of people have lost the art of that. Now, it's interesting what you're saying, Joel, because I'm doing an intensive, and we're comparing, and it's a hard conversation to have. We're comparing the thrill and passion and the excitement of an affair, which is
Mm-hmm.
new, to the normalcy, predictability, and monotony of a long-term relationship. And so
Mm-hmm.
the wife is asking the question, is she more exciting than me? And he gives his answer, and then I got to come in and I got to unpack it and say, well, I want you to think less about it being a comparison between you and her, because that's the easiest thing to do. But the
Right.
nature of the relationship is different. It's just so if we take you out of the equation and her out of the equation and put any two people in the equation, an affair, because it's new, because it's passionate, because it's naughty, because it's the thing I'm not supposed to do, there's an element of excitement that a relationship you've been together for 10 years just doesn't have. That's why you have to be critically intentional of bringing new and different in.
And an
Yeah.
affair has no responsibility, though. In that affair, everybody's living their best life. They're, having a good time, but he has no he or she, there's no responsibility over there. They don't have to take care of the kids. They don't have to pay the bills. They don't
Very
have
true.
to, do any of the relational true, things. So of course it looks better over there because
Yeah,
And,
it,
I
and that's exactly right. Lakeisha, I'm sorry. Lakeisha, I wanted to jump over to you because in an affair, you're giving a person a portion of who you are, not the whole totality of who you are. So it's fictitious, it's fake, it's a fantasy, it's not real. And this is why, affair relationships that turn into committed relationships, there's a high probability of them not working. Go ahead, Lakeisha.
that's true. And I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, Joel. Like that's exactly where my mind was going. And I was thinking, man, drive separate cars, like meet up and have dinner or plan a date where literally you are just focused on each other and free of distractions, like dinner at a new restaurant or a picnic in the park, and literally just talk. You have to plan dates like you did before you were married, and make talking a critical part of that, which is why I said you want to go someplace that's free of distractions. Like you don't want to go to a concert, to the movies, like that's your play date, right? That's your play, actually connecting and getting to know, like you said, Jewel, we're completely different people now, right? It's a whole new relationship, and we have to introduce ourselves to that new person and talk. And talk literally is an acronym. You got to take issues head on. You got to have a
Mm,
forward looking mindset and be there to talk about what's next and discuss best practices for taking those issues head on. You have to have an agenda. Ladies, we know we have a tendency to just go and go and go, and our men will tap out. So we have to have an agenda. We need to know exactly what we're going to talk about when we come together so that we're actually making progress. We're actually having resolution to the problems, because oftentimes that's when a lot of men are reluctant. And even us ladies, we're reluctant to talk because we're not getting resolution. So we need an agenda so we can be focused and make sure that we're walking away with a resolution. And then you got to link your list. You got to have some connectivity, right? You have to have a process for passing information and receiving information so that you make sure it's heard and that it's received in the way that you intend. And then last, you got to keep a rhythm. You got to make sure you're having that standardized frequency. When are we going to talk? Is it Wednesdays at 6 o'clock? Right before Bible study at 7, whatever it is, but we need to have a rhythm of when we're going to communicate so everybody knows exactly when we're going to talk. Because that's another issue too, is we get frustrated because, okay, how long am I going to have to wait before we get to have a conversation? But if we have a set time every single week, then I know I can hold whatever it is that I got going on until Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. I know that we're going to have that weekly meeting or what have you to be able to talk about issues.
wow. What was the acronym again? What was that
It's
word?
talk. So it is taking issues head on, right?
Hmm.
Going to have an agenda. You got to link your lips, and then you're going to keep a rhythm.
Love it, love it, love it. Here's a question that I want you to respond to, Lakeisha, and then Janella, I want you to pick up on it. I understand the first part of the question. Is it wrong to expect the same that the affair partner gets? Okay, so this is a spouse, their partner cheated on them. Is it wrong to expect the same that the affair partner got from my husband or from my wife? Isn't it setting the bar of what the unfaithful is capable of and should expect the same? How do you respond to that? I want to go to you, Lakeisha, then to you, Janella.
Okay, Chef Spawn. I'm going to say that if you do that, you are going to spawn a bunch of foolishness. Okay, you can't do that because it's not the same person, it's not the same relationship, and you do not want to get into these comparisons. That literally destroys your relationship, it destroys yourself, minimizes the value of who you are and also the potential of what the relationship could be. Why do I want to just limit it to that other person? I can be bigger, better, stronger. I can be healthy, happier, healthier, sexier. I can literally tear down everything in this bedroom. So you may think it was good over there, but it can be 2 times, 3 times better over here if you focus your energy and attention into getting to know who you already have. And when you start comparison to start these comparisons with the affair partner, literally what you're doing is bringing them and inviting them into your bedroom. You're inviting them into your life. You're inviting them to stay in your marriage. No, we got to completely get rid of that. That's the past. And we have to focus on right now, which was Jules' last point of getting to know who you are now, being willing to get to know who this person is right now. We don't have time to be thinking about that other person because it wasn't about them in the first place.
That's
Exactly.
first of all, I want every woman to hear what Lakeisha just said. She said, tear down everything in that bedroom. All right.
Tear
So
it down.
she's giving you some advice on what to do in that bedroom to bring the passion back in. Love it. The second thing is, to your point, the comparisons are no good because when you compare, you're always keeping that other person attached to you. They're attached
Mm-hmm.
to your heart. They're attached to your mind. When your spouse who had the affair is ready to move on and disconnect, you keep them in the relationship because of the
Yes.
internal comparisons that you make, which is not healthy at all. Come on, bring us
Mm-hmm.
home, Janella. What's your perspective on this question?
Oh my goodness. So, if you have been listening to us today, 2 words that we are saying over and over, you have to be willing and intentional. And if you bring that into your relationship, you give yourself the freedom, you give yourself the opportunity to create the relationship that you want and need, whether it's communication, whether it's date night, whether it's in a bedroom, whatever area we are talking about. If you are willing to make changes, if you're willing to address the issues that's going on and be intentional into bringing spice back into your marriage, or be intentional about showing compassion and love to one another. If you have willingness and you are intentional, you will have the relationship and a life that you desire. There's no way around that.
You got to grieve the
Absolutely.
loss and let it go. That's what it
Mhm.
is. Grieve the loss and let it go. The loss of that affair, the loss of your old marriage, you got to grieve it and let it go.
And
Yes.
keep in mind, and one thing, keep in mind is you never want to give anyone that much power over your mind and your thoughts. So
Mm-hmm.
this other individual now that's going on with their business, doing whatever, you're so focused on what they were getting,
Mm-hmm.
how they were being treated, where you've become inundated in them. So now they control everything that you feel.
Right.
You're allowing someone else now to control your emotions and how you feel and how you now relate to this other to your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that other person knew that you were spending that much time on them, then they got you exactly where they want you.
Mm.
And it's disrespectful.
Facts. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. We're going to get one more in. This is the final one, number 11. They're willing to be introspective. And I think we've kind of hit on this throughout the course of this conversation, but they're willing to sit back, to take a step back and begin to evaluate. We're talking about being self-aware, aware of oneself, but also being able to look back at one's past, right? And begin to reflect on what went wrong, what was right, what patterns need to be broken, what habits need to be released so that we can have something new and different in this existing relationship. And some of the ways that you can be introspective is by taking the time to journal. Journaling is an excellent exercise that really allows you to get all of these thoughts and all of these feelings that are in you out. And sometimes it doesn't really make sense until you take pad or pen to pad and begin to write it out. And some would say journaling on a pad is a lot more effective than actually typing. There's something that happens, there's a physiology that happens between your brain and your actual writing that allows things to come out a lot more clearly. And another thing is taking the time to meditate. Now, any of you who've been through Unearthed or you've been through Foundry, we talk about the importance of meditation and actually doing it at the start of your day. So, if that means getting up a little bit earlier and having your own alone time to be in reflection and to begin to meditate, it allows you to get into a good emotional space, but it also gives you clarity of thought as you begin to analyze your life. And then engaging in self monitoring. This is where your intentionality comes in. So I've reflected, I've meditated, I've journaled. I need to be more consciously aware. And now I'm going to hold myself accountable by engaging in self monitoring. So when I feel certain feelings begin to creep up, I'm going to monitor myself. When I feel myself saying things or articulating things that may not be beneficial, I'm going to monitor myself. When I see myself going into old practices that will compromise the integrity of my relationship, I'm going to self-monitor myself. But self-monitoring doesn't only happen when you're aware of your own behaviors, but you have other people who you've given permission to hold you accountable. That level of accountability ensures that you stay on the right path. Just
Mhm.
think about bowling. When you're bowling and that ball is going to, you have I always forget what they're called, the bumpers, right?
Bumpers.
That you put up on both sides that keep, right, the bumpers. They help to keep that ball, heading straight ahead so that they don't wind up in a gutter. And likewise, we need to do the same thing in our relationships so that our lives and our relationships don't wind up in a gutter. When you are committed to these 11 things, it makes a major difference in your life and in your marriage. So, listen, guys, I hope that this was helpful. Hope you got something out of this conversation. Thank you, ladies, these phenomenal practitioners. If you have yet to reach out to us to set up a discovery call, we encourage you to do that because Lakeisha Hines, let me tell you, Lakeisha Hines and Jules Smith and Janella Bradley, they are some bad sisters who will give you what you need to transform your life and your relationship. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for another great episode. Take care.